All right, good morning, Dr. Purvis.
Good morning, Mr. McCorkle.
Oh, we're coming up on my favorite part of the semester. You know what that part is?
What is that?
Advising season.
Oh, I love advising
This
season.
is the time of the semester that I see students I haven't seen since this time last semester.
Which is a problem, by the way.
That is a problem. This shouldn't be the only time you see your advisor, but since we have your attention now, we want to talk a little bit about what to do to prepare for advising season and what you need to do. We've got about 10 steps you need to go through to prepare for advising, which is unfortunately about 10 steps more than what some of y'all have done in the past. So we put together this little video. We want to talk about exactly what you need to do. So Dr. Purvis, if I'm a student, what's the first thing I need to do to get ready for advising?
The first thing you need to do is you need to find out who your advisor is. Everyone has been assigned an advisor, a major advisor. If you're a minor in our department, you have an advisor. That's your minor advisor in addition to your major advisor within your other department.
And if you're an honors student, you'll probably have an honors advisor as well.
Yes.
But you still need to go to your primary advisor within your major department.
First. And then if you do have a minor advisor, you go to them second.
Outstanding. So if I don't know who my advisor is, or I can't remember because some students aren't actually taking classes in the department yet, so they may not be spending a lot of time over here. How do I find out who my advisor is?
You need to go through Banner, and you need to go into Banner Student Services, and under Student Services go to Student Information. And within that page it's going to tell you things like your full name, which you want to make sure is correct. You want to make sure that your major is correct. It's the one that you actually believe you're working on your degree in. Your minor, if you have one. If you had one but you changed it, go ahead and go in there and you can change that. We'll tell you about how to do that later. And it's going to tell you who your advisor is. So that's who you want to make sure you get in touch with. If you're not sure or you're on campus and you forget to look on Banner, within a couple weeks before advising, we will have a list of advisors posted within our office on the front doors when you come into the building.
Outstanding. I have a question. This comes up occasionally with me as an advisor, and I hate to admit this, but some of my students aren't really thrilled with me. They don't like having me as an advisor. If a student isn't happy with the service they're getting from their advisor, or if sometimes your personalities just don't mix. They don't mesh well. Can you change advisors? You
can.
Okay.
But you've got to go through Dr. Bean.
Okay, so it's like a formal request.
It's a formal request. You can't just go see. Nope.
Oh.
You can't just make an appointment because you have Mr. McCorkle this semester for his elective class and you like him. You can't just decide to make an appointment with him this semester and then maybe come back to me next semester. You need to make sure you're going to who your assigned advisor is unless a formal request change has been made. And then you will find out that it has been approved.
Okay, so I figured out who my advisor is. Now, do I have to sign up? Do I show up? Are there certain times we do advising? How does that work?
So the academic calendar sets the time for advising. So right now we're not in advising. It's not quite time, so don't come by. The schedule's not even released. We don't know what classes are offered. So always pay attention to the academic calendar. That'll tell you when you can start being advised. And then you're going to usually get an email from your specific advisor, or you're going to see it on the Public Health or Kinesiology Resource Center within your classes that tells you it's advising. You're going to pay attention to what your specific advisor wants and how you're going to sign up. Every single advisor in the Department of H&K requires you to make an appointment for advising. Some of us use the old-fashioned paper sign-up.
Sign-up sheets on the lab door every semester.
Some of us use email.
We're retro, by the way, not old-fashioned. We're retro.
That's debatable. But some of us use email. Some of us use online scheduling programming. So pay attention to what your advisor wants. You can also always just email them and ask how the best way to sign up is.
Okay, outstanding.
Mr. Corwell, what do I do if I'm not local?
If you're not local?
And I need to be advised.
Well, then we offer several different options, and I know I've done this a few times. Y'all do it a lot more than I do in public health, but I mean, we can Skype, we can do phone calls, we can actually do it via email, but we always prefer, most of us prefer that personal touch, to have that instant interaction. So a phone call or Skype or another method is typically preferred. And always, if you're on campus, we want to do it in person.
Yes.
I said we want to see you, we want to catch up with you, and make sure that you have a complete understanding, because misunderstandings have been known to occur when it's all in print.
All right, so I've signed up for my advising time. I have my time set. Do I just need to show up?
Oh no, you got to do a little homework first. So first thing you need to do is go to the H&K website. If you don't know where that is, shame on you. Shame on you. MUW.edu. We'll post a link to it in the resource centers as well, and you can find it on our Facebook page anywhere you go. And actually pull up your curriculum. There's a copy on the website of every single concentration's curriculum, along with a suggested flow chart of when you take each classes. And it's important to pay attention to that, because the classes that are put first are often prerequisites for the classes that are put lower down on that list. So you want to go to that list. If you're old-fashioned like me, you print it out, or you may just save a copy of it to your iPad or to your computer, your tablet, whatever you have, and review that list. Start looking at it and say, okay, which classes have I taken, which classes have I not taken? And we have a lot of non-traditional students who might be my age, and I'm starting to get to the point that I can't remember. So if I can't remember what classes I've taken and haven't taken, or maybe I retook one to get a better grade, where do I go to find out about that and refresh my memory?
So you want to pull your transcript.
Okay.
So before you meet with your advisor, always pull your transcript. Take a look at it.
Doesn't that cost money?
Not to look at it, just unofficially.
Oh, okay.
You can go and look at it back in Banner. You go to Student Records, and it's under there listed as unofficial transcript. That'll show you. You should always review your unofficial transcript before you meet with your advisor. You want to check it to make sure that all your classes are listed, specifically your transfer classes. Because you want to make sure all of your transcripts from your community college, other universities that you've transferred in, are there and they're counting. What you can see in your unofficial transcript is the same thing your advisors can see. So if it's missing for you, it's missing for us, and we will have no way of knowing. We don't know what you've taken. So make sure you double check it before you come in.
And let us know if you find an error, because then we can talk to the registrar's office, make sure we get that updated, because we'll also be getting audit sheets from the registrar's office that might or might not be correct. They're based off what you see and what we see.
So now that I've looked at my transcripts, I've looked at the curriculum. What do I do next? Show up?
No, not yet, not yet. You're putting the cart in front of the horse. Now what you have to do on this is make sure you have to reconcile the two. You have to make sure that all the classes on your transcript match up somewhere with that curriculum sheet. And some of them, you may have a few extra electives or something like that, but go ahead and just mark off. Again, you can do it digitally, you can do it paper, you can do it by hand, what you want. Cross through, mark off every one you've taken, and look at what you have left. Then after you figure out what classes you have left, you need to figure out which classes are going to be offered this upcoming semester. And again, we want you to start with that. We're going to be looking at it as well. We know what's going to be offered about the same time y'all do when that schedule is posted. But you can actually go to the class schedule, the course schedule each semester, and look at what's offered. And we're going to be posting that, again, that link. You can go to MUW.edu. You can search for the course schedule. It'll pop up. But we'll put a link in the resource centers. And go ahead and look and see which classes you might be interested in. See if they're offered.
Check and see if they have a prereq.
Oh, yeah.
You got to make sure you've taken the prereqs for those. Some of the classes you definitely have to have completed prereqs, and you want to think that through. What's next, though?
Okay, after I've figured out what classes I need to graduate, what classes are going to be offered this semester, what I encourage students to do is go ahead, whether you're a freshman or you're a senior, kind of sketch out your plan to graduation. And with that, I mean, look at what you might want to take each semester until graduation. Doesn't matter whether you have one semester left or 5. And you can base it off that course, that suggested curriculum. Sometimes you take a few classes out of the order in the suggested curriculum, but you should stick as close to that as possible, because it takes into account course rotations and information you might not know about as a student that we know about as faculty. So go ahead, pencil in, get a tentative schedule. When you walk in for advising, we want to know what you want to take, and you're factoring in your job schedule, you're factoring in child care, you're factoring in the fact that you're just not a morning person. So, this information that we might not have as your advisor. Hopefully we learn that over time, but, you might not have shared all of that with us, or your work schedule changes. Factor all that, come in with a tentative schedule.
Should I talk to financial aid before I talk to my advisor?
Well, you might need to. If you have any concerns, you can always ask. Now, you can actually check on Banner and see. What we strongly encourage is when you go in under, look at my cheat sheet here, Student Services, you can find if you have any holds. And click that link, View Holds. We're going to put up another video showing you some of these links and where to find everything. But View Holds, because we're advising you as if you can walk in and register that day. If you have a financial aid hold, if you have an early alert hold, If you have any issues or concerns, those holes will let you know if you need to talk to University Accounting, if you need to talk to financial aid. Make sure you got all your FAFSA information in. They'll let you know all that under holds and under your account. So make sure you double check that before you come in.
So, okay, it's the day of my advising appointment.
Outstanding. You've made it.
And I'm coming in. I'm coming to meet you, Mr. McCorkle. So my appointment's at 10 o'clock. I should get there at 10:05?
Probably not. Because, when we look at this time, advising season is a busy time of the year for us. I see anywhere, depending on the semester and what numbers we have in each concentration, anywhere from 30 to 50 students advising. And it typically takes at least 15 minutes per student. So I'm going to let y'all do the math on that because I didn't bring my calculator. So pull out your iPhones, do the math. We're talking hours of advising per advisor. So this is important. If your appointment is at 10 o'clock, show up at 10 o'clock. If you're Skyping or calling in with your advisor or they're calling you at a certain time, make sure you set that time aside. And you only get about 15 minutes for advising. So use that wisely, which brings me to the next point. What if I have other questions other than just class schedules?
So during advising season, so when we're actually doing scheduling for the fall, is really, or the spring, we're really focusing on those classes, like what you need to take. It's not really when we're going to talk a ton about grad school, job options, internships. That's when you need to come back and make another appointment. And come in, when we don't have maybe a student every 15, 30 minutes. So that's what we want to do. We do want to meet with you, but we want to have time to really talk to you, help you plan it out, map it out, pull grad programs, look at them with you, find jobs, talk to you through those things. So you can have those questions, and we can answer them, but not at that time. That's not usually when we have the most time we can spend talking to you.
Right, and that's important. We want to devote that time to you. I mean, that's one of the most rewarding and most fun parts of our jobs is to see students going into different fields, different areas, to see students going to different grad schools and coming in. And sometimes, it's humorous seeing y'all struggle with the same things that we struggled with. But advising time for scheduling, it's not the time for that. That's why I say it's my favorite time of year, because a lot of students don't take advantage of that. I never see the students other than this time of year.
So, Mr. McCorkle, I've been to my advising appointment.
Okay.
I've got my schedule. I've got my RAP number.
Which you're not going to get without getting advised.
You're not.
We don't hand those out.
And you get a new one every semester. That's a question I always get is, but my old RAP number didn't work. It's not going to. Okay? But, I just don't know what I want to do with classes, if I want to take them. I'm just going to wait till the week before classes to register.
I would not recommend that. I would recommend pulling the academic calendar, and I don't know about you, but I tell my students, I remind them the exact day they can register. As soon as you can register, 8 a.m. that morning, be sitting on your computer, log in, register for courses. That day, you can always go back and change those courses. But if they fill up, sometimes we can get you into a class, oftentimes we can't. Especially across campus, that's completely out of our hands.
And the last several semesters, all the classes in H&K have been full. Full. No seats. So what I always tell my advisees is your classes are only open and guaranteed that they're open when I tell you they're open that day.
Right. If a class fills up, say you're a freshman, you can't register till later. Well, you're probably going to get advised later, so we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to advise you based on the fact that that class is filled up, and look at taking a different semester.
When you're advising over email, just a quick reminder for especially the public health students that do a lot online and email, make sure you're always telling us how many classes you want to take that semester, that they need to be fully online. If you're taking classes in the classroom, tell us when you're available. Have these things in mind. Don't just say, I can take classes online or in class, but don't tell us when they are. But you can only take them on Tuesday mornings from 8 to 11. This is all information we need so that we can go ahead and get stuff and look through stuff and plan before you guys come in. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of tell you we're going to scramble and not be able to be as prepared for you.
And we're going to tell you just simply what we think based off our preferences, but there's one more thing that actually it's going to be hard for us to give you advice on how to handle everything. Especially this. The state regulations, the university regulations changed this year. If you're getting Mississippi State financial aid, you have to take a minimum of 15 hours. If you're getting federal aid, you have to take a minimum of 12 hours. If you're getting loans, you can take any number of hours. If you have a scholarship, the number of hours you have to take each semester, that's totally dependent on the scholarship. We don't have access to that information. We're not that much invested in your personal life. We don't know these things. So you have to share that knowledge with us. Say, Dr. Purvis, I'm getting MTAG. I have to take 15 hours. This 14-hour schedule you recommended, it may help me graduate, but they're not going to pay for it, so I can't do it. So it's very important to have that information come in, and there's no one single website we can refer everybody to for that.
Mr. McCorkle, can I take 21 hours this semester?
I would not recommend it. I would not recommend it. I believe the cap is 19 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? 19 hours. It is possible to get a waiver to take more hours. However, you have to get multiple levels of approval.
I usually only recommend 15 hours. It's very rare that I advise a student to take any more than 15 hours.
I would say each program differs.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time we're advising 15 to 17 hours in exercise science. In order to graduate in 4 years, you have to average 15 and a half to 16 hours a semester. So you may have some 12, 13-hour semesters. You may have some 18-hour semesters. It'll never be exactly the same. But make sure you let us know what you can handle as well as what you're required.
What you've had in the past, what worked, what didn't work. So now that you have a little information on advising, start watching your emails. Things are going to start coming out about advising season, and we look forward to seeing you all during advising season, if not before, and then definitely after with your other grad school questions, job questions, and just any other academic questions we can help you with.
Absolutely. Happy advising, guys.